There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Sorry for the late start.
A little bit of technical difficulties
Yeah.
on our part here.
Hopefully, we'll get that ironed out after this week. But we are here to talk about some NFL Combine fallout for dynasty purposes and do a little mock draft. So I guess we can just get right into our Combine winners and losers. Did you want to start with that, Mike?
Yeah, so I'm going to actually pump up a guy that not a lot of people have been talking about. And it was somebody I talked about on the Dynasty Dogs podcast last week, and that is Kimani Vidal, running back from Troy. He ended up having a RAS score of 8.83. I was extremely surprised at his 40-yard dash. Came at a 4.46. I didn't see that on tape. I didn't see that kind of speed on tape. I expected like a maybe mid to high 4.5. So I was kind of shocked to see a 4.46. I think that's extremely impressive for him. It was somebody I was like starting to pump up right before the last episode that I did. He's a strong runner, man, and I think he definitely rose his draft capital this weekend. I'll be interested to see. I thought he was going to be like a late, maybe 6th, 7th round. Maybe he just added himself into the 4th, 5th conversation, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's a guy I've liked for a while. For a few years, he's been super productive for Troy. And yeah, I was very surprised by that. I thought he was kind of like a Devin Singletary type like archetype where he's like this just short, slow running back that's just kind of like smart, and that's how he makes his money. But yeah, I was surprised by that time.
I think Daniel Jeremiah called him a small school Josh Jacobs, and that when sometimes when you hear a comp, it's like but sometimes when you hear it and you start looking at it, it's like okay, maybe a little bit, because that dude runs, man. That dude's a hard runner. You said he's got a lot of tread on the tires. He was used very heavily at Troy. I think he had like somewhere close to 250 carries last year. So he's somebody that's toted the rock just a lot. So I'll be interested to see what happens with him.
Yeah. So other running backs, I think Trey Benson and Marshawn Lloyd both probably helped their stock out. Two guys that are like, I feel like a lot of the running backs in this class are on the smaller side. They're slightly bigger guys, but put up great times. I think Benson, that time probably for a lot of people in the dynasty community solidified him as the RB1 if you already had him there, or like that might
I
have
had
been.
him at my 2. Where did you have him?
I have him at 2, yeah, behind Brooks. Okay. But yeah, I think that'll definitely boost his stock. And then on the other side of things, I think Bucky Irving these are both guys that we like. Bucky Irving and Audric Esme probably both hurt themselves a little bit.
So I just wrote an article for Toilets and Titles on Bucky Irving, and I know that there is some major hesitancy on him right now after like the poor showing at the combine. I think he had like a 2.28 RAS score with a 4.56 40 time, which I didn't think he had the greatest long speed, but I thought it would be better than that. When I rewatched him again today as I was typing it, I was reminded why he was my RB1, and I'm probably not changing that just based on the combine. Because you and I were talking off air about how we do take a little bit of stock into the combine when it comes to draft capital. But, we've been watching these guys for a little bit, so the film is there, and the play speed that Bucky has is much different than what we saw at the combine.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm not – he's probably – if I were to be more worried about someone based on the combine, I'd probably be more worried about his time than Estime's, just because
I could agree with that.
Big, and he's a power back. That's not really like that didn't really surprise me that he was slower than I expected, but wasn't shocked that it was not a great time. Irving, it's just honestly I don't get how he ran that time.
In my article, you'll see at the end where I said he is what Jim Ross in WWE would call quicker than a hiccup. So he's extremely quick, extremely versatile. The speed I didn't think was there. I kind of noticed him getting caught from behind. So 4, 5, 6 is a little shocking, but it's not like gonna take him out of my RB1 discussion.
Yeah. I forget. Do you know, it was his like 10-yard split any good, or was that?
Yeah, I have it. I think it was kind of medium. It was his 10-yard split was 1.61.
Okay.
So he was just about okay at that.
In the chat, someone, is that Genesis, I think, said Estime had the worst combine for running back. Yeah, he didn't. His other
That's fair.
I think his other tests were also pretty poor, not just the 40.
I'm just figuring out how to use the chat here, so I apologize, everybody, that I'm just noticing that is a function on here. I am not technologically savvy. I can barely use any of the Excel or PowerPoints, so this is all brand new to me. But yeah, Estime, he was my RB4 pre-combine, and I'm a little shaken because 4.72, I believe it was his 40, is extremely a little concerning.
Yeah, definitely. Then okay, real quick, we can just mention some receivers. Obviously the obvious ones are Xavier Worthy and Ryan Thomas Jr., AD Mitchell, all definitely all ran great times. Mitchell and Thomas ran those times at they're big dudes. So I was particularly surprised with Mitchell's time, honestly.
Same here.
I knew he was fast, but I don't know, that surprised me. Thomas, he looks every bit as fast as that on tape.
So did AD Mitchell rise for you at all?
No, I was already pretty high on him.
I think we talked about that. I think last week I said that he was taken in the first round, and I wouldn't have done that. I feel like if we rewound the tape, you could get me called out for that one. So I was a little impressed by him as well. But again, there is some concern I have for him, just based on the film that I watched.
Yeah, definitely. He has red flags for sure. And then receiver losers, I think Keon Coleman's the obvious one.
Mm-hmm.
With the 4.6 that he ran, I don't know, speed not really his thing anyway. I wasn't. Kind of reminds me of Treylon Burks from 2 years ago when everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's an athletic freak, like he's going to test great," and then he shows up and he ran like a 4.5 something. People were expecting like 4.3, 4.4 from him, but that just a different kind of speed. Really, like it's not. It's more of like a build-up type of speed.
I could see that's kind of what I was going to say, like that athletic speed. Like he needs to get going first. Like he's not a 40-yard dash kind of guy, like coming off the line kind of guy. Because I felt like even when he was doing like on film, his yak ability, he was faster than that 4.6 time. So I was a little surprised with him. Troy Franklin like tested well, but that gauntlet drill, he looked like me trying to like draw. He was all over the place, man. I was a little. He was my wide receiver 4, and I don't think I'm going to drop him, but that was a little concerning because the gauntlet drill can tell you a lot about a player.
I think with that, I wouldn't drop him based off of just that, but for me, that drill in particular kind of highlighted the concerns I had about him, which are he just doesn't feel like he doesn't look like a natural fluid pass catcher to me.
His not a typical hands catcher.
Yeah, he kind of looks like he's like when the ball's in the air. Sometimes he looks like he's like doing math, trying to figure out like how where exactly to catch it. I don't know. He just not nearly to the same extent, but it reminds.
So he's doing art and math with the gauntlet drill between his running and his hands. Yeah, I could see that.
Not nearly to the same extent as Quentin Johnson last year, but it reminds me a little bit of that same thing where he just doesn't always look comfortable catching the balls, but when it's above his head.
If there was a QJ in this class, who do you think it is?
You mean
Like the overhype coming in, like the overhype coming in, the concerns that you see on film kind of showing up in different things.
Honestly, I might have to go Franklin. I like Troy Franklin, and I liked Quentin Johnson last year too. Just in both cases, much less than like not into the idea of them being first round like real life picks. I just feel like Franklin has just kind of like landmines in his game that if he doesn't, he has a few things that if he doesn't fix at the next level, they're going to be big enough issues where they'll really hold him back.
Believe it or not, one of the guys that you mentioned as a riser is going to be the guy I think could be the QJ of this class. I mean, QJ could still end up being something. Let's not, but Brian Thomas gives me a little bit of QJ vibes just because of the lack of physicality in his game. I know you watched a lot of film. Did you watch the Alabama game?
For Brian Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was extremely frustrating of a watch. That dude cannot get off press coverage whatsoever. He struggles when somebody's putting hands on him, and that's a big red flag for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I felt like he had a good release package at the line, like with his foot techniques. But he really struggles with contact, which to me, it's probably more of a technique thing, and he just needs to learn various like foot or hand techniques and have like a plan for when the DB attacks him in different ways. And he has obviously the physical tools to develop that part of his game. Plus, I think I could see him being like more of a Z where they're moving him around. He's off the line of scrimmage. He has a little bit of space because he has like quick feet. He's a smooth, fluid mover. Like in that role, I think he could maybe avoid some of those like issues with physicality.
Yeah, I could see it. Like you said, he is a physical specimen. He should be in the top 3 discussion or 4 discussion for me. But when I turned on that Alabama film, and let's be honest, Alabama is full of future NFL players, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Corners.
What's that?
They have 2 potential first-round corners.
Exactly. So it's like that's just big red flags for me. And then when you see a guy like Xavier Worthy, who is like supposed to not be as like physical and as strong, win against press man against Alabama, it should tell you a little bit. Who's especially a lot smaller than Brian Thomas. Yeah.
Worthy's very good at avoiding contact at the line of scrimmage. Okay, I think we real quick. I just want to mention some other guys. Tight end Theo Johnson. I mean, he put up his RAS score is 10, I think literally 10, which I'm told is good.
Yeah.
And then Ben Sinnott from Kansas State, the tight end, put up some crazy numbers that I was not expecting. He jumped like 40 inches, he's 6'4", 240, jumped 40 inches, and he had the 6th fastest 3-cone of anybody at the combine.
Yeah, I saw a lot of the tight ends did extremely well. I had to go back and watch a little bit of it. I know Sanders was probably the biggest struggle for the tight end class during some of the drills. It seemed like from the guys that should be in the top 4 or 5 discussion, it looked like he had the worst time at the combine. Also, QJ is a flop. All of the TCU team that beat my Wolverines are frauds. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're certainly not wrong. That's from the chat.
Hey, not Kendre Miller though. He's
we do love Kendre. I do love Kendre Miller too. So it's his season this year.
Yep. All right, we want to get this started. It looks like there's not too many people in the draft room. We probably bored them.
Okay, I'll put in the chat that we're about to start. Anybody else you want to talk about while we wait for a few minutes?
I'll just mention the quarterbacks. JJ McCarthy, I think, weighed in a lot heavier than people were expecting, so that could probably do him some good. That's probably why he maybe that's why he didn't run the 40. I don't know, but he did some of the other drills. I'm sure he interviewed very well. A good point from Genesis there. Did we talk about Garendo? We did not.
Oh, the Louisville running back, right?
Yeah. We did not talk about him. His speed score is like off the charts. He ran a 4.3 at like 220 pounds or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly like barely knew who he was. I knew there were two Louisville running backs that were both at the combine. I couldn't tell you anything about either of them. I haven't watched Grendo at all yet, so I can't really.
No, I haven't watched any of Grendo at all. Jawar Jordan, I believe his name is. I did see a little bit of him because on the last podcast I did, Wiz from the Dynasty DNA crew brought him up to me when I was talking about Vidal. And he didn't test as well as I thought he was going to, because he had some really nice speed on film. But everybody's talking about Garendo right now, and I guess we got to go back and get in on that before it's too late, because it might be too late now.
Yeah, it depends what kind of draft capital he gets. If he gets like reasonable,
like a secret, he said.
If he goes like early day 3, Garendo, you're probably going to find people drafting him fairly highly in rookie drafts.
Did I ask you? I don't know if I did or not last week, right before we get this started. Do you give, so say for instance, a running back is taken in the 5th round. Do you kind of give them like a round bump in your brain?
What do you mean? Like,
so for instance, a lot of people will, so a running back was taken in the 5th round. Well, that would kind of, since running backs are not overly important in the NFL, they kind of, in my mind, get like a round bump. So if it's a 5th round draft pick, he's a 4th rounder, essentially.
Yeah, I definitely do not. I don't look at it the same for running backs and receivers. Like if a running back and receiver are drafted in the same spot, like it means different things.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I guess pretty much, just bump them up around.
Gotcha.
I do think there is like a line, some kind of a like you want to see him drafted on day 2.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
but like an early 4th round pick, that doesn't really bother me.
All right, so it should have started, correct?
Yep.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, we got most of them in here.
Yeah, I put a 2-minute timer. That should be good.
Yeah. What spot are you in here?
I'm at number 6. I believe you're at number 10.
Yes.
We got Wicked at 4, who was talking some smack earlier today, so we'll see.
I got M. Coop at the 109 was saying he was going to snipe me on I don't even know who it is that I want there, but I guess I'm not going to.
He knows, apparently.
Yeah.
I could tell you right now, TJ Blake, the Dynasty DNA crew I talked about earlier, he's going to be avoiding a bunch of people that I actually like. So this should work out.
That's good.
So I'm interested to see where they go at 1. When you do these mock drafts, what do you go in with the mindset? Do you kind of like pretend like you're drafting for one of your teams? So say, for instance, you're at the 6th spot and you're quarterback needy. Are you hoping, even in these mocks that have nothing to do with your team, you get a quarterback in that situation? Are you trying to build around the teams that you have established, basically?
Not really. I mostly just am here to see
where the values are.
To see kind of like where people tend to go. And also as like you might have the idea of like when you're in a certain range of the draft, you're like, these are the players that I target here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but sometimes like if you're in a mock and they go and you're like the people on the board are not who you're expecting, to kind of be able to play out those scenarios so that when it happens in your actual draft, you're
ready for it
on the clock. Everything. Yeah, you have a plan. Grant says I want 80 Mitchell. He's not wrong. I love me some 80.
Time's up. Let's see. Drake May with the 101. I mean, I'm not mad about it, to be honest with you.
So that's actually a perfect segue for me. Have you seen? I feel like Drake May is starting to catch some hate in the community a little bit.
Yeah, not from me though. I'll let you say what you have to say, and then I'll talk about what I saw.
Yeah.
Caleb at the 2. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's for me. I've said this for a while, but I think Caleb is far and away the best quarterback in the class.
Mm-hmm.
May, like I get it with him. I just don't. I think it's a lot of projection, and I think there's a lot of things that he needs uh, to kind of work out if he's be a long-term starter. And it seems like maybe NFL teams are. It's hard to. It's also really hard to compare him to like a Bo Nix, who Bo Nix has had 60 starts as a college quarterback. Like I don't even know how to compare the two of them. But I don't think like I don't buy the whole like, oh, Drake May would have been the first overall pick last year and like that. Like I think I would take all three of those top quarterbacks last year over him. But that's just me.
Yeah. So I think I saw somebody, who was it, that had him as the 6th best quarterback in this class.
Yeah, Chris Sims.
Chris Sims, right? Yeah, I don't see that at all. I'm still very early, like kind of in my quarterback like review system right now. When I watch Drake May, man, he reminds me of a mix of Justin Herbert and Carson Wentz. Like, as an Eagles fan, watching some of the things that Drake May does, it like screams Carson Wentz in my face, and it's kind of terrifying, to be honest with you. But he just makes some plays that Carson would have done.
Yes, I like the Carson Wentz comp, which I feel like most people hear that and probably like that. But I mean, he was a real an MVP candidate there for a quick second early in his career. But I do see a similar type of like bust potential for Drake May that like I can see his career path being not too dissimilar from Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I could see it. There was one play, it was against Duke. He was rolling out right, and he got tripped up by the defensive end, and he tried flipping it up as he was falling down. And I'm like, I am watching the reincarnation of Carson Wentz just in a different uniform. Like I couldn't believe it, but like that kind of quarterback is what I enjoy. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make any sense, but he is Brian Thomas comes off the board at the 1-8. That makes sense.
Bit of a fall for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I was surprised to get him there. We were talking up Drake May for a second, but yeah, I was surprised to have him there. But yeah, I like Drake May. I just don't believe in the 6th best quarterback of this draft.
Yeah, I mean that's a little aggressive, I think.
Yeah.
If the whole like age factor, I don't know how to factor that in, and like just based off of like what I saw on film, like I don't think it's crazy if you want to have like a Penix, say that a Penix or a Bo Nix have better film than him. It's just with him being 21, like there's a ton of room for growth.
Right. My question to you is, and I think a lot of people ask this question, say for instance, if you were to take Drake May and drop him in LSU or USC, would he have had a better season than he did at UNC?
Yeah, I mean that's a very good question. Real quick, I'm gonna make my pick first, and then.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have mentioned you are on the clock, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, AD Mitchell's gone.
Here. I think my rankings say Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to keep my hands off my keyboard because I forgot my screen is being shared, so I don't want to tip my hand anywhere.
Yeah.
Because I've done that before during a live stream. I'm like, shit, everybody can see what I'm looking at here.
Yeah. But with Keon, I don't like being in this range of the draft. If I were in this range of the draft, I would be looking to trade back.
So I actually was thinking that, would you rather have like the 110 through 112, or would you rather have the like the 2-1, 2-4 range?
Yeah, I mean, if you can say you're at the 110, if you can go back to like the early second and then pick up maybe a late second or like a future second on top of it, like somebody really wants to go up to get a Coleman, a Franklin, whoever, or like a JJ McCarthy, we just see go at the 111, like one of the quarterbacks who gets into the first round. I would definitely do that personally.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree. I have a situation right now where I have the 111, and I'm possibly thinking of trying to move back to get like a 2.5 and 2.8 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be mad at that, to be honest with you, because I think that's where a lot of the running backs are going to go in this class.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just love I love the players in the second round, honestly. And I think, to me, I almost feel like the players at the end of the first, like the A.D. Mitchell, Keon Coleman, Troy Franklin, have higher chances to bust.
I could see that.
Are like higher ceilings, whereas like guys like Pearsall and McConkey and some of the running backs like feel like much safer picks to me, even if they don't necessarily have the same ceiling.
Yeah, I have a tendency to agree. It looks like my buddy Nick here picked Bo Nix at the 112. If he ends up being a first-round quarterback, that's extreme value right there.
Yeah, definitely.
And Worthy and Franklin go back-to-back at the 2-1 and 2-2. Again, if both of those guys get first-round capital, like this is the kind of value we're talking about for this draft. Like we might see what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide receivers go off the board in the first round of the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Like it's going to push some quarterbacks back. I mean, look, I got Jaden Daniels at the 1.6. It's going to push Brock Bowers back just slightly to 1.5. Like Brock Bowers last year could have arguably been in a tight end premium, maybe 1.2, 1.3.
Yeah.
I would think anyway. Let's see what Superchargers does here.
Someone just said in that chat, I've seen Coleman go as far down as the 302.
I've seen him drop a little bit. I've seen him into the mid-second to late second.
Okay, here's a question for you. If Quentin Johnston had a great rookie year, is Keon Coleman going higher in rookie drafts? I feel like with him running a slower 40 and like just being that type of player who, like they say, has separation problems, I feel like people are just scared of that.
I'm just looking. It looks like we lost somebody. Team 1 jumped out, so I don't know how that's going to affect.
It should just auto pick. I don't think it's.
Yeah, I just don't know what happens there because we'll find out in a couple of minutes here. But yeah, ask the question again. Sorry, I was like catching up on what's happening here.
Yeah, it was a half serious question, but like if Quentin Johnston had a great rookie year or like at least a better rookie year, I feel like people would like Keon Coleman more.
True. No, I could agree. I could absolutely agree with that.
We have people like in the late first that just have PTSD from drafting
Quentin Johnston. Yeah. Lad McConkey at the 2.3 seems like a value. He had a really nice combine.
Yeah, he's a good player. I was just watching a video of a guy I think does good film work called That Franchise Guy. He said Lad McConkey is the best route runner he has scouted.
Yeah, he might be up there, man. He was putting defenders on skates at the Senior Bowl. Now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do here. Do I go my RB1 or do I go one of my wide receivers? See, this is what happens. We get to the point where the running back should start going, but there's still value at the wide receiver position.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to go on my guy, Malachi Corley, who didn't test. I was surprised at the combine.
That was interesting. I didn't even think about that, actually. Yeah. Did he do like any of the tests?
I don't think so. I didn't see anything on him at the combine.
That's interesting.
I kind of tried to look into it and I couldn't find anything. And then I got sidetracked by something else. So I was like, oh, okay. I guess for whatever reason he didn't test. Maybe he felt like he didn't need to.
Yeah.
Maybe he generated enough buzz for himself.
Sanders at the 209 and tight end premium is definitely good value.
Yeah, honestly, he would have been he was in consideration for me at the 2.6, especially he's probably what you think a second round pick, safe.
Sanders?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I could see that. And a team, if he goes to a team like, I don't know, the Chargers, yeah, that's huge value right there. I think next week you and I are going to try doing a a mock draft where we're gonna try to put a lot of these players in different landing spots.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
that should be interesting.
that'll be fun. Man, if I just draft based on my rankings, I'm gonna end up drafting the exact same players every time we do these.
It's fair. Yeah, see, I have Malachi Corley as my wide receiver 7, so getting him at the 2-6, I feel pretty good about.
Yeah. I'm gonna do something if I were just doing this normally, I would probably go Ricky Pearsall.
Mm-hmm. You did a great profile on for Toilets of Titles.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he's one of my favorites for sure. I'm gonna go Blake Corum though.
Yeah, man. I think he had the same bench press as Joe Alt. I think I saw the same amount of reps, which is insane.
Yeah, it helps when your arms are about 6 inches shorter. But
it's true. It's true. I could agree with that.
That's still very impressive. Corum, I think first of all, 4.53, I think it was. He ran great time for him. I don't think many people would have guessed he ran a better time than Bucky Irving.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I don't know if you saw this from the combine, they showed like an overlay of Corum and Marshawn Lloyd both doing like that little drill where you're like high knees over
the pads,
whatever. Mm-hmm. And Corum is like flying through it, looking so much smoother. And Marshawn Lloyd, who ran obviously a faster time, takes him much longer to get through. And that's, I think, obviously it's just one rep of one drill, but I think highlights what I like about Corum. He's so efficient and like just gets where he needs to be quickly, even if he doesn't have the long speed to break runs.
I think that's the off tackle drill, right? Where they high knee the pads, and then the big standing pad is standing in the middle, and they go left or right. Right? Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Bucky had a really nice. Okay, good. So team 1 did get autoed. Bucky Irving had a really nice drill there that I shared. So yeah, I could agree though. Blake Corum, as much as I'm not the hugest fan, he is like a workout warrior, and he's gonna have a place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that he's added himself to probably one of the top 3 running backs drafted. Maybe not in my rankings, but drafted in the NFL draft.
Wait, sorry, who is this?
Corum. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, Corum. Yeah, he might be my RB3. I think I had Estime.
Got a little scared off.
Yeah, I might switch him. It's a tier for me, so I don't think I won't.
Do you
one over the other? But
do you prefer tier-based rankings?
Yes, very much.
Yeah, I'm starting to lean that way as well. I think it makes things easier because, so say for instance, like Blake Corum is running back 7 for me right now, and Estime is running back 5 or 4, but they're considered in the same tier to me. It's not a huge jump, you know what I mean, for 7 to 4 if they're in the same tier. Yeah. But when you look at it numbers based, it looks like it's so far off.
Yeah, it's like there will be certain players that they're just like so close where you're like it's just preference of like and like style of player that you want,
right?
Especially with like NFL teams drafting. Like sometimes as an NFL team, if you want a slot receiver or a big outside guy or whatever.
Great value on Polk, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good
3-2.
Fat Young G putting together a nice little draft there.
Yeah,
Caleb at the 102, can't go wrong with that. Troy Franklin at the 202, good value, and Polk at the 302 is great as well.
Yeah, he is putting together a good team. I'm not super thrilled about that. Yeah, Supercharger got sniped by Polk, so I guess he's trying to figure out what to do here.
It was darn straight in the chat. Also got Trip Crown in the chat saying Corum has all-time bad long speed. The Chargers will love him. Insert off from last year. Yeah, that run was bad. I don't think Corum is that slow. He ran a 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
True. Jacob Counting at the 3.3, a little interesting.
Yeah, that is early. You don't hear a lot about him.
No, but he again, he just in the chat said it might be a reach, but he loves Counting. I mean, at this point, you kind of you're in take your guy land, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
He did have a really impressive combine. So he's risen up a few people. Ricky Pearsall, your boy's gone.
And Pearsall at the 304 I might he might be like go early second round. I think in the real.
I could see
in
it
the NFL
now.
draft.
I'm going to be in a tough situation here if Genesis doesn't take one of my guys. So I'm going to have a couple guys that I'm going to be high on.
Whoa, Trip Crown. No Keaton Slovis. No Keaton Slovis slander in the chat. All right.
The chats are kind of all over the place. Roman Wilson. Okay. So now this puts me in a bit of
good value.
It is really good value. So I don't want to tip my hand on who I would have taken here if I take the other player. So I'm kind of interested. What do I want to do here? You know what? I'm going to go with my RB3 of the class, Marshawn Lloyd. I think that's good value at the 3.6. I think we're going to see him as an early third, maybe second round rookie pick, maybe back end. So I'm kind of happy getting him here in the middle of the third.
Yeah, no, that's
Jermaine Burton. That's a good one.
Jermaine, that's another guy I like a lot. I'm working on a profile for him.
There's TJ taking his main guy, Ray Davis. He's going to be good, man. For at least 2 to 3 years, Ray Davis is going to be a stud.
Yeah.
God, I'm sorry about Burton. I get excited about Davis.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, Burton. Honestly, I think he was just misused so much at Alabama with that quarterback situation was not good. And I think he'll have a much different role in the NFL than he did he was like just a deep threat. Ben Snott, great pick.
It's a good pick. Yep. Double stack in tight end and a tight end premium, not a bad option in case one doesn't work out, you know. Yep. You're up, so I'll let you take your pick here. But I know the quarterbacks at the combine, like Joe Milton, a lot of people are starting to raise up Joe Milton. I'd put a little bit of pause on that. Just because he has the strongest arm in the class doesn't mean he's going to be the greatest NFL quarterback.
He doesn't. I agree, but he doesn't just have the best arm in the class. He might have. I think he today has the best arm in NFL history.
Yeah, it's fair. You got to be very careful with Joe Milton. Like right now, we're in take your guy land. We're in a super flex league. Joe Milton off the board wouldn't be like insane to me.
Yeah.
But he has absolutely zero touch on the football. He just wants to put it through a dude's chest 99.9% of the time.
Yep. All right. I think this is, I think, a pretty easy pick, actually, for me.
I'm interested to see.
I'm going to go.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of people were hyping him up to be the number one in Washington. Oh, you motherfucker. I don't know if I can curse on here.
I honestly didn't. Javon Baker, he's so low on these rankings.
He's going to get up higher as the time goes on, but that's my guy right there. That was between him and Lloyd on my last pick, but I thought people didn't look down that far, to be honest, just yet. But yeah, I like that McMillan pick by you.
Thank you. Yeah, he's a smooth route runner. Good. He should. I think the comparison people have given a lot is Jacoby Myers. Just like a smooth route runner, doesn't really blow you away with speed or like too many other traits, but just like he'll get open reliably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if he didn't get hurt, do you think he'd be in a higher conversation?
Maybe. I think if he didn't get hurt, he would be ahead of Polk, like fairly consensus. I actually prefer Polk, but I think he would have, because McMillan and Odunze kind of played very different roles at Washington, whereas Polk is more similar to Odunze. Mm-hmm. So I think if you had all three of them all season, McMillan would have been much more productive than Polk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my buddy Nick, who is about 6'4", 6'5", took like the biggest wide receiver in the class, so that makes 100% sense.
Johnny, I've never watched. I didn't even I watched him. Don't even know how to rank him. I've never seen a player like him.
I don't think anybody knows how to rank him. He had a really good combine too, but like I expected it. The
Yeah.
dude,
4.5.
what's that?
Running a 4.5 at his size is crazy.
It's insane. I watched him, so I saw him at the Senior Bowl. I saw him on film. The film matches the Senior Bowl. The dude runs like an absolute gazelle. But the problem with him is he doesn't know how to stop himself. Like he's so big and he moves so well that he just doesn't know how to put the brakes on. Like his comeback routes, he takes way too many steps trying to stop. You know what I mean? Decelerate. He doesn't know how to. And I think that could just be a learning curve for him. But man, if he hits at that size, who knows? Jamari Thrash, that's another one. I got another guy I really like.
Yeah, Thrash is a solid player.
He's a body catcher though. That drives me insane.
Yeah. It's weird that I feel like you see even like very good receivers in the NFL who still do that, and it's definitely something that hurts your game for sure. But like you see, like Keenan Allen does it so incessantly, body catches. Like,
yeah, I agree, but like Jamari Thrash at like 5'11", 186, he's got a really slim frame. So when that ball hits him in the chest, it gives the defender an extra like second to kind of like knock it out. You know what I mean? And he has a slim frame, so it's not like super hard to kind of like knock it out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Keenan Allen can get away with it because he gets the separation and he's just such a good route runner. But you have to be really good to be able to get away with that kind of stuff.
Let's see. Hold on 1 second.
A couple of tight ends coming off in the fourth too. Theo Johnson, I mean, in tight end premium in the fourth round, can't go wrong.
It's value.
Taking with who's like an absolute freak of an athlete. And then Barner is a guy I like a lot, actually. Just got started watching him.
Oh, Barner? Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough some of these tight ends are really tough to analyze because they just get so little usage. But I like some of the stuff I saw from him.
Yeah, he was again another guy. Like I feel like I say this a lot, but okay, I'm up. He was another one that flashed at the Senior Bowl just a bit. He's a big dude, man.
Yeah, he is.
So I'm kind of stuck here. I love Devontae Walker. Like something to me tells me he's going to be better than what. Like I had him ranked high, and then at the Senior, like 8, I think I had him, and then at the Senior Bowl, I dropped him to like 15 because he really struggled. But something tells me he could be in that Christian Watson ilk if he could stay healthier.
Yeah.
So I could see it, but you know what? I hyped him up so damn much. I got to go Vidal.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick in the fourth round.
I think Walker's a good pick in the fourth round, to be honest with you, too, if he goes.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be lasting to the fourth round in most drafts. He fell in our first one, too.
Yeah, he did. He did. He's really been slipping.
Yeah, he had a solid combine.
He did. Oh, there he goes. That's an extreme value.
He I don't like him personally. Tez Walker. When I first watched him, it was before the Senior Bowl and all that. I don't know.
But do you see the Christian Watson type trajectory for him?
Yeah, he's definitely the same like mold of player. For sure. His breaks are just not clean. He's also tough because his route tree was so limited at UNC. It was just goes and curls, basically.
And what was the other one? Georgia Tech, right? He was at before?
Kent State.
Kent State. Sorry. Who am I thinking of with Georgia Tech? That's way off. But, yeah, he had a couple good releases against press man at the Senior Bowl with like swipes and stuff like that. But I'll let you take your pick here.
I was going to take Malik Washington.
Yeah, that's the guy. Tell you what, TJ really hypes him up. So he's probably thrilled to get him where he did. So,
yeah, he might go fairly high in the in the NFL draft compared
You think
to
when you say fairly high, what do you?
like
I'll let you pick
compared to
first.
this. I'm thinking like he could go early day 3,
Mhm.
or
I can see that.
maybe even a little early. I don't think he would sneak into day 2, but I think I'm gonna go with a tight end here, unless I'm missing someone. Thinking about Will Shipley.
He's an interesting one, man. He's got such good hands. It's kind of hard to deny him. You know what I mean? Especially in PPR.
I don't see how he wouldn't at least carve out like a little role as a third down back in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll definitely have a spot somewhere. But I'm gonna go. I was a little disappointed with Jaheim Bell's combine, honestly.
Yeah.
Cade Stover.
Okay. I actually didn't see too much of him. I haven't dove fully in yet. There, Jaheim Bell goes right after. Let's see what Nick closes this out
Probably
with.
thinking of Calvin Johnson. He's pretty similar to Tez Walker.
Who said that? Oh, yeah. Someone in the chat.
Yeah. I don't know about all that, but maybe slightly closer to Demaryius Thomas, but still not quite. Also a Georgia Tech guy.
Mm-hmm. All right, Nick, take us home.
And just as I said, Jaheim Bell, he goes with the 4.11.
Yeah.
I thought he would test like really well. He's a good athlete, but
is a very good athlete, but he struggled too, which is surprising.
More like functional athleticism, I guess, rather than.
Mm-hmm. He's just smaller too.
Yeah,
he's kind of built more like a wide receiver ish. Like if you compare him to Johnny Wilson, which one do you think is the tight end?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Jaheim Bell, he reminds me of Chigo Okonkwo.
I like that comp. That's a good one.
He'll be kind of like that, more of like an H-back. He'll probably line up in the backfield a little bit. Like at South Carolina, he got a ton of carries before he transferred to Florida State. They hyped him up, but yeah, they were good. Grant just says in the chat you can play Jaheim Bell at running back too. Yeah, they like hyped him up a lot in the offseason as like, oh, he's going to be our new Deebo Samuel. We're going to use him like that. And they did a little bit, and then he transferred out. But
there's only one Deebo Samuel of this class, and I took him in the 2.6. Now, to be honest, like I understand the comp with Malachi Corley and Deebo Samuel, but like it's so hard to put a guy like Deebo Samuel comping to anybody. You know what I mean? Like it's very hard to do that. So.
Yeah, and in the same way, it's hard to comp Corley to like really
anybody else. Yeah,
you either comp him to Deebo, or you comp him to like the other people who also got comped to Deebo in the last couple of years and didn't work out.
Who am I thinking of? The Jacksonville wide receiver,
Chenault.
Yeah, Laviska Chenault.
Yeah.
Chenault, yeah, it's almost like a death sentence.
Yeah. Who was the Clemson receiver that got some of that stuff? What is his name?
Clemson.
Texans, I want to say, drafted him. He didn't do anything in the NFL.
Oh. Is he playing currently, or is he?
I doubt it.
No. Okay.
Little 5'8" guy, whatever.
Amari
Rodgers.
Amari Rodgers. Okay.
He like weirdly got Deebo comps when he was being drafted. I don't know. That's all. I see it. He's pretty similar to Corley, actually, I think.
All right. So is there any? I'm trying to look and see. Is there any? What's the word? Reaches, I guess you could say, that you would think.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I'm gonna say it in every draft we do, but Xavier Legette.
Yeah. I'm glad you went one pick right after me because I thought you were gonna say Corley.
No, that is earlier than I would take Corley, but that seems like that's not much earlier than I would take him. Probably Cowing would be the other one.
Yeah, Cowing is one to me, but again, in the third round, you're kind of in your take your guy section, you know. And the biggest value to me is Devontae Walker, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Thank you for everybody that joined, listened, and participated in the draft. So that'll do it for us, right?
Yep. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, it was fun. Again, we're going to be doing these every week, and I think next week we're going to try to do a mock draft where we're going to put these guys, probably most of the guys taken today, on teams, right?
Yeah. I'll go out and find like a 7-round mock on just like one of those mock draft sites, or maybe I'll just like run the PFF draft simulator.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and just plug that in, and I'll probably put them in just the skill position players in a sheet, and put it in like the draft chat for everyone to look at.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be fun, and it adds a different element to it as well.
Yeah, more of a you have a guy that you love, but he falls to the 5th round. Do you still want him?
Right. Yeah. I'm afraid that's going to happen to me a few times.
It always does.
But again, thank you for Toilets and Titles for letting us do this. And again, we'll be doing this next week. Hopefully, we'll have our technological situation figured out right from the gate.
Yes.
So,
thanks, everyone.
Thank you.